Hey guys, welcome to part 2. Before we dive in, make sure you've watched part 1 so you don't miss any of the story. Daeun was confused about what to do with the giant boar. He tried to break through the earthen wall he had made, but the wall crumbled like paper. The boar turned out to be much stronger than Daeun had expected. Its strength and durability were incredible. In a panic, Daeun tried to seal the cave entrance with the remaining earth he had, hoping to block the monster. However, despite his determination, the boar destroyed Daeun's earthen wall in an instant, as if tearing through paper. Daeun began to panic. The boar was far more powerful than he had imagined. The boar smashed through the area Daeun had worked so hard to create. Frustrated, Daeun gathered all the earth in his inventory into one massive pile. In his anger and eagerness, Daeun forgot the earth was too heavy for him to carry. His planned cool move turned into a joke as he struggled to lift the heavy pile of earth. The action was failed and Daeun tried to escape to another room, but the wild boar managed to attack Daeun. The monster grew even angrier as it saw Daeun persistently running away, as if refusing to give up. Daeun, overwhelmed and unable to think clearly, began imagining the delicious pork feast he would enjoy after defeating the boar. With what strength he had left, Daeun built another earthen wall, this time stronger, determined to defeat the monster. Unbeknownst to the boar, Daeun had set a clever trap. The giant boar fell into a pit he had secretly prepared. Daeun, who had been panicking earlier, now acted smug, pretending he had planned everything from the start. Using the last of the earth in his inventory, Daeun buried the giant boar, pushing himself to the limit until he was out of breath. After waiting a while, Daeun was overjoyed. At long last, he could savor the roast pork he had been dreaming of for so long. Daeun couldn't wait to taste the giant boar's meat. The delicious aroma made his stomach rumble. Excited, he sharpened a knife until it was razor sharp, ready to carve up the massive beast and enjoy its meat. Carefully, Daeun began cutting open the boar's belly, removing its organs one by one. After finishing, he separated the meat from the fat, feeling satisfied to now have a large supply of food. Next, Daeun took the boar's skull and started rubbing it against the cave wall. Slowly, he shaped it into something resembling a large frying pan. It was lighter and stronger than iron, perfect for cooking. He then took a piece of the boar's fat and started frying it to extract all. To Daeun, all was precious. He needed it to make torches and cook more food. This all smells awful. Monsters will catch the strong scent and come here to eat you. The rabbit warned, clearly worried. Daeun calmly replied, "Don't worry, I already planned it." Confidently, Daeun pulled some iron spikes from his inventory and started building traps to deal with the approaching monster. Just as the rabbit predicted, any creature that fell into these traps would meet its end instantly. This meant Daeun could keep hunting without needing to return to the surface. The rabbit was annoyed by Daeun's strange behavior. After setting up the sharp spikes, the traps were finally complete. "Do you think the monsters in this labyrinth are stupid? They won't just fall into your traps," the rabbit asked angrily. But Daeun didn't care. Right now, all he wanted was to feast without any regrets. Suddenly, a massive boar appeared above the trap and jumped in, attracted by the smell of its roasted friend. To Daeun's surprise, he had caught an even bigger boar than before. His excitement grew. Now, Daeun didn't need to worry about his food supply anymore. The rabbit became increasingly frustrated with Daeun's strange and nonsensical actions. Every time Daeun roasted boar meat, another boar in its group would be drawn to the smell. It was as if Daeun had discovered a cheat code for this dungeon. He could simply relax and wait for more boars to come to him. With a wide smile, Daeun felt today was much better than yesterday, thrilled that his food supply wouldn't run out anytime soon. Daeun began slicing the giant boar's meat into thin pieces and grilling them. Every day, more giant boars kept falling into his traps from above, endlessly. This became Daeun's new routine, cutting up boar meat and cooking it. The scene shifts to Seo Wu's group. Seo Wu, covered in blood, wielded two swords as he battled against 100 horned boars alone. Suddenly, a notification appeared. Skill unlocked, Horned Boar Slayer. Seo Wu has defeated 100 horned boars and earned a new skill. Horned Boar's Strength. The skill allowed Seo Wu to temporarily harness the power of the horned boar. Level 1. Double strength and stamina for 10 seconds. Cooldown, 100 seconds. Seo Wu, you're getting stronger. At this rate, you might turn into a monster yourself, joked one of his teammates. Seo Wu laughed it off, replying, "Hey, don't lump me in with monster. That's scary." The group celebrated their achievement. But as night approached, Seo Wu urged, "Let's head back to the cave for safety." Meanwhile, back with Daeun. Daeun was having the time of his life. Instead of worrying about his old group, he indulged in a feast of roasted boar meat. Suddenly, as he chatted with the rabbit, another massive boar fell into his trap. This one was 5 times bigger than the others. The rabbit was shocked. "How do you keep catching such huge boars?" Daeun smiled smugly. "It's just a skill I picked up. Now, flip that meat, so it doesn't burn. I need to carve this one up." The rabbit was even more stunned when Daeun demonstrated his new horned boar's strength, the same skill Seo Wu had unlocked. After Daeun returned to her base, she was startled by the sight of the rabbit looking completely drained. It seemed as though the rabbit still couldn't believe what had just happened. How could someone like Daeun, who didn't appear particularly strong, suddenly possess the power of the horned boar? The rabbit finally mustered the courage to ask, "How did you manage to kill 100 boars?" Daeun replied nonchalantly, I'm not sure. Maybe they kept falling into my traps and eventually became delicious roasted meat." The rabbit was still puzzled. "But haven't you gone through multiple dungeon resets?" Daeun shrugged. Maybe the dungeon resets don't affect me." She paused for a moment, pondering. "Or perhaps it's not just boars. If I've killed other monsters too, they might count toward the total." The thought intrigued her. If I kill 100 more monsters, could I get another reward from the dungeon? Morning came, and his scene shifted to a curious squirrel gnawing on a bone. Suddenly, the squirrel noticed a strange light emerging from the ground. Its curiosity piqued. Following the glow, the squirrel dug deeper and eventually stumbled upon Daeun's base, where it found a mountain of giant boar bones. For the squirrel, whose main diet was bones, this discovery was like finding a treasure trove. Day after day, it returned to Daeun's base to feast. One day, the squirrel stumbled upon an enormous pile of bones that looked particularly appetizing. Among the pile was a bowl brimming with giant boar bones, and as the squirrel began to eat, it was overwhelmed by the incredible flavor. It felt as if its head would explode from the sheer deliciousness. Completely absorbed in its feast, the squirrel didn't notice Daeun quietly observing it from below. Although the squirrel was scared upon realizing it was being watched, it didn't want to leave behind the irresistible bones. Daeun, unable to resist the cuteness of the squirrel, decided to approach it gently. For the first time, she felt there might be other creatures in the dungeon besides the giant boars. Eventually, Daeun befriended the squirrel and named it Pookie. Unexpectedly, Daeun earned an achievement for befriending Pookie, the earth squirrel. The two began spending joyful moments together, and surprisingly, Pookie seemed to understand Daeun's words. Curious, Daeun asked how Pookie had managed to enter the underground. Pookie motioned for Daeun to follow. Pookie led Daeun to a narrow tunnel. To Daeun's surprise, it was a path she had abandoned long ago because a large rock had blocked the way. Behind the rock, there was a small opening near the roots of a tree that led to the surface. Daeun felt overwhelmed with gratitude and emotion upon discovering this. She thanked her little friend, Pookie, wholeheartedly. Finally, after so long, Daeun had found a way out of the underground. The gentle breeze carried the fresh scent of greenery, and the vibrant trees and soft, expansive grass came into view. Normal, peaceful life greeted Daeun with happiness. She was overcome with emotion, tears streaming down her face at the sight of such beauty. Daeun cried tears of joy, but suddenly, a flock of sheep was being attacked by wolves, and behind Daeun, a pack of fierce wolves was already closing in. Daeun froze in fear, unable to move as terror gripped her. She thought it was the end, but the wolves weren't looking at her. Their focus was on the sheep. However, her sense of safety didn't last long. The alpha wolf had been watching Daeun from behind all along. Panicking, Daeun dashed back into the underground. The alpha wolf followed, forcing its way into the tunnel and causing the walls to collapse, sending the wolf tumbling down. Daeun, more terrified than ever, ran deeper into the underground. She tried to use her earth skill to block the path, but it was too slow. The wolf lunged at her with its sharp right claw. Fortunately, the attack only grazed her, But the situation became even more dire. The wolf now blocked her escape route. Daeun racked her brain, desperate to find a way to survive. Finally, she activated her horned boar skill and struck the wolf's face with all her strength. The wolf was sent flying by Daeun's incredibly powerful strike. Daeun couldn't believe the strength of her own skill. However, the fight was far from over. The wolf was still alive and now angrier than ever. Daeun, who had been certain her attack had been strong enough, was stunned to see the wolf get back up. With only 7 seconds left on her skill, Daeun rushed forward to attack again. She unleashed a flurry of relentless blows on the wolf. But then, her horned boar skill expired and went into cooldown. Now, however, Daeun had figured out the wolf's attack patterns. The wolf's most lethal move was its quick right claw strike, always the first attack, betting everything on a life or death gamble. Daeun pulled a clump of earth from her inventory and shaped it into a sharp spike just as the wolf opened its mouth. With this desperate move, Daeun finally managed to defeat the massive wolf. After the battle, Daeun realized how fragile she was. She knew she had to train her body to become stronger. Daeun began working out and lifting weights, eventually improving her horned boar skill. The skill's duration increased from 10 seconds to 20 seconds, and its cooldown decreased to 90 seconds. Daeun felt fortunate to have faced only one wolf, knowing they usually hunted in packs. She trained her punches relentlessly, using a giant boar as her punching bag, determined to grow stronger. Daeun suddenly received a notification. Her skill leveled up to 3, and she unlocked a new ability called physical enhancement. This skill lasted for 30 seconds with an 80-second cooldown. Daeun tried it out and found her punches were now significantly more powerful. She smiled, satisfied with the fruits of her hard work. With newfound determination, Daeun vowed to keep getting stronger. If you want the next chapter for this manhwa, comment below, and I'll make it for you.